about lying your body along the bolster. If you have one, you would bring your knees maybe apart. Of course, you'd be sitting onto the feet first of all. This is not compulsory, and you might be bringing the bolster in between your thighs. And then as you lengthen body forward, you'll find that you can pop the ear onto that bolster cushion. You can even soften the arms. And if you want to, you can tuck the forehead and soften in. And you can even have your cushions and blocks further forward, so that again, it's just the hairline and the forehead that kind of rests on the tip of that bolster. That's giving you a really lovely breathing space. So that is just a couple of ways there that you can assist your Balasana child's pose. If you've got any difficulty flexing the knees, bolsters or blocks can come between the buttocks and the feet. That's a really lovely way of creating your kneeling pose, or assisting that kneeling pose. So rolled blanket, rolled up towel, or cushioning here. And then you would also have extra cushioning in front, or you might just bring the elbows down and let your spine and buttocks just surrender back. Maybe the forehead comes down. So I'm allowing you, of course, please, that time to arrange your pose in the most suitable way. And for those of us that don't have props, or in fact don't wish to use them, or we're absolutely fine without them, I would think about just lengthening away over those thighs, and maybe letting the arms straight back, and forehead is of course resting. It's almost like the shoulders, as they drape over your body, it's as if they're forming a little blanket of rest and calm around you. So please deeply connect to your inhalations and exhalations. Maybe soften the mouth and the jaw, and the tongue and the cheeks. I'm really imagining you all just really settling in to your morning mat practice. Perhaps you are well balanced and rounded, and you are not suffering any stress at all. Your lockdown might be a blissful place to be. Maybe you don't go out much, or you love staying home, and maybe it's giving you a breather from life. Maybe this pause in 2020 has given you a chance to take stock and to realise that you were too busy, that you were filling your days with what we might call busyness for the sake of it, and in actual fact you needed to rest and step back and reflect. So there's obviously some positives that have also occurred in some of us in our sort of way of finding better wellness and equilibrium. So contemplating some of those ideas. And then let's reach arms forward. And as you extend arms forward, maybe make a cupping action. So really almost like a mat grab. So reach through and create that sort of cup sensation. Remember, knees can come apart a little bit if necessary. You can readjust. And then we're going to swing into Balasana, which is the side angle, Charles. So reach your arms around to the right, sweep them to the right, and then re-soften. Maybe bring the right elbow down to earth beside your right ankle or thigh, and then extend more through the left. And then sit the left hip to the left. You might want to turn your head a little bit. Feel what you can feel there. Back off a little bit if you need to, and then draw back to center. Press the heels of the hands into earth, so lengthen out from that cup, reach, press the heels of the hands in, raise fingers, and then swing by over to the left. And again, your left elbow can come right down to the left hip, reach the right arm a little further. Inhale, exhale as you extend, and breathe. Maybe shift your hips a little bit and then roll back to center and then into high kneeling. And then we're going to slide body forward into the pose of Anahatasana. So that's coming into that really deep extension of your spine. So slide the palms in wrist extension. Maybe bend the elbows. Some people like to bring the elbows outwards. I'm okay with sliding them that wide. And as you slide chest close to earth, guide the heart center down and lift the hips in line with the knees. Tops of feet are pressing. And maybe you just land onto chin lightly. Try not to just push that chin bone in. Or you might have to tuck in a little and have your face and nose just delicately hovering above that mat. So choosing what feels right as you slide. And then can you slide seamlessly back and then scoop the belly in, chin to chest, hollow. Stack shoulders above the hips in a Vajrasana kneeling pose. And then rise as you breathe in, extend the arms. Coming into a neutral, high kneeling, and then add more breath and opening if it's okay for you. Remember, you're breathing all the way through. You're going to sit back down, release arms, find as you bow, child's pose, and then sliding through to Anahatasana again. So let's fold outwards from here. So in other words, extend your awareness outwards. You might even want to have a little wiggle of the hips. Seamlessly, as best you can, slide back. Now start to round. So drop the tail heavy, scoot in, rolling in. You find you're stacking in the pose of Thunderbolt Vajrasana. And then rise, inhale, 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 extend, and encourage super back bend, or the back bend to your ability. And then you can also round in again and down to your child's pose, bowing. And adding in as an option, the final slide through to Anahatasana. And then we'll slide back and just bring the elbows onto earth. So moving now into thread needle child's pose. I'm going to extend the left arm forward. Join me as you reach that left arm forward. Maybe even pick the arm up and extend a little bit further. And then twist and thread the right arm through. Bring the right ear to the mat. And then you might want to lift your hips a little bit. So we're not really in cat pose twist. And guide your body into more rotation if that's available. Now that left arm can of course reach a little further away if that helps you. Right palm can rotate down or up. You might even want to bring the right hand onto the left ribs. Just encourage a little bit more rotation there. Can you breathe? And is your neck okay? Spiral and seamlessly flowing back. As you flow back, bring the palms together into prayerful namaste. Press the elbows in and then lift hips in line with knees. Maybe walk those knees back a little bit and then roll the pelvis forward and back. Sometimes I call this kitten pose. So remember, you're stacking shoulders above elbows. As you breathe in, you might want to look forward or up. And then as you exhale, roll in and back. Can you feel the movement of the scapulae? By the way, if your neck prefers just to stay a little softer in this movement, then do so. You know, just roll out, shake it a little bit. But it is quite lovely and delicious to go head below heart here in that sense of just tucking in, rounding, pressing the earth away through the bones. And then flowing back into child's pose when you're ready, nuzzling and sliding and cosseting those hips down towards the feet. Reach your right arm forward, extend, and then thread the left arm through. And as you slide over, you will face the right side. Maybe you're looking into the elbow or the earth or the left palm. And then how much more rotation can you evolve through from the pelvis? So let the hips rise up enough. Extend your right arm further forward if that suits you. Possibly bring the left fingers onto the right ribs. But essentially reconnect to good breath. Spiral and twist. And soften the gaze, soften the mouth. Please, attentive to good breathing, and then unravel and slide back. Bring the elbows apart now and the palms apart. So you've got this kind of rough approximation of two L shapes on the arms, and then press up into your all fours. We can do that a couple times more. So hug elbows in and down as you release, and then press up into all fours. Let's find YOGAROS, the tiger. I'm just going to walk forward a little bit. Spread out through the shoulders and through the arms, and broaden the front body, and stay really still for a moment on your all fours. Pausing to refresh and nourish the body with good breath, and then curling that left knee up and away, and finding your spinal extension, standing really proud and firm and dignified on those arms. Imagine the back of the skull touching the foot, and then rounding in as you curl, scoop, and bring the nose towards that knee. And I like to let my left foot actually rest on the earth, and then round off. Let's try again, breathing in as you curl, scoop. Exhale, rounding. And then maybe a few where you just roll that hip in and out to really create glossy action. And you'll notice there I'm not really moving the head and neck as much. Just have a little stir as you close that side. 2 or 3 really slow measured. Remember that as you curl the right hip out in Balasana, the tiger pose, it's very powerful on one side of the back. So notice how that feels. It's the strength of the gluteals and the hamstrings as they lift up the leg. Those muscles contracting. Exhale to slowly curl in as best you can, tucking and rounding. Breathing in as you create that back bend, tail of the tiger. Exhale, scoop. And then you can, of course, speed up if that's good for your hip, rolling it up and back. But of course, find, please, a healing energy around that pose rather than necessarily just creating a fast, furious action for no apparent reason. And then on completion of Balasana, maybe slide the knees a little wider, bring the big toes together and land back into your foot and base, so the base connecting. And if you're perfectly okay to sit upwards in Vajrasana, the gracious pose. Let the weight of the body drop down through the hips and thighs. Let's have one round of breath here. And then finding Adho Mukha Svanasana, the down face dog. So press the hands strongly, coming onto all fours-ish, curling your toes. And if they're a bit stuck, it's winter of course, if they've been stuck into fluffy socks or boots or whatever, send buttocks back and then rise up. And we'll curl that tail up and back bend. So you can see that I'm just trying to find, with knees soft, a kind of cat pose movement inside the down dog. Then I'm going to round off and scoop away. And then undulate through, raising that tail, so it's almost like a dog plank feel. And then round off, pressing back. Maybe straighten the legs, pull up through the navel. Everybody, can you please check that the knees, ankles and hips are in line? And then walk the feet back a little bit and rounding, if that works for you, rounding over into neutral spine in plank. Let's try that again. So raise the tail, back bend, and maybe shorten your dog. And high hips, extended legs, possibly feet down. Some of you will, of course, have softer or bent knees there. And then come up into a rounded position. And scoop over. Whoops, t-shirt's gone right into my face. Scoop over into your plank pose so that you've created that hollow scooping energy, and then draw your body forward into plank. And then we'll pop the knees down, lowering the body onto prone. Reach the legs back into hip extension. And press the palms beside the face or the eyes. And roll, release, glide up into cobra. And you know, it's okay to have firmer arms as long as your shoulders don't push into your ears. So, you know, you can even bring your arms forward in front of your mat and have this low slope cobra. You can see there that I'm demonstrating just that kind of softer energy cobra, but with those firmer arms pressing away. And if that doesn't suit, then of course bring those elbows in, maybe press the palms together and find that beautiful pose we know as Sphinx Asana, very nourishing to the spine. In pose of cobra, or join me now in Sphinx, reach through the tops of the feet, engage the whole legs, and then choosing to bring the gaze forward and even up and back. And if you're doing that action, can you gaze to your nose tip and try that again? So drishti on the nose, so gazing at the tip of the nose, perhaps first of all looking at nose tip and thumbs. Press bones, draw shoulders back, reel the head back in, and then you gaze at the nose tip. Softly open the throat. Care and caution as you roll back in, looking at nose tip, thumbs, and then looking into heart center. Breathing and being aware of breath. And then slide body down, hands beside the shoulders. Press up, back into all fours. Choose to come onto blocks or use fists and knuckles. Narrow that all fours a little bit. And breathing in, find that widening, expanse as well of the in breath. And then tuck the tail in, rounding as you exhale. And soften and maybe add one more of that cat pose. So just in neutral spine, and then exhaling to press and rounding, rounding, rounding. Really find that these hip points draw up towards the ribs, and that encourages the undoing of what for some of us can be a tight lumbar back. So we're going to return to child's pose and then move into pose of crown-based Yoga Mudrasana 1. So some of us might prefer to sit and breathe well at this moment. Those of you that like to feel that extra pressure in this semi-invert, might want to choose the crown-based pose, and others might even want to practice down face dog again at this point. So I'm going to extend the chest forward and let the forehead land on the mat, and then seamlessly roll onto the crown. Now you can of course make any adjustments here that you need, but essentially the belly muscles just tone in and you're scooping through that midline. And then you may want to roll seamlessly out again and just notice how you feel, slowly returning to your pose of kneeling. Moving from there, if that's enjoyable to you, and notice that really it's not a good idea to wear a baggy top because it flops into your face. I'm just tucking that in. We're going to hold the ankles or feet in pose of Shashankasana, the moon or hare pose. So now take hold of the ankles or feet. And then as you exhale, hollow belly and roll onto crown. You stay connected with palms to hands, to feet, palms to feet. Squeeze the feet and ankles together. And elongate your arms and try and keep a sort of resistance going. As you inhale, exhale, make sure that you are able to find the crown as you scoop in a little bit nearer. Maybe you bring the head a little away or towards the knees, roll back. Again, hollow, and land up into kneeling. And those of you that are practicing down face dog, of course, take sensible resting. We'll add dog pose in now, all of us. So curl toes, rise up to dog. And then allow that tiger pose to come in again. So curl a leg out, inhale, exhale, knee to nose. Lift and extend, curl that hip up and out, inhale, exhale, rounding. Into other leg, reach, curl, lift, and imagine the foot coming to the back of the skull, breathe in. Exhale, fluid rounding, nose to knee. One more, inhale, press away. Exhale, round. Releasing back down. Last one in crown-based pose for those who wish to continue is when we lift the hips high and come onto the straight leg. So lengthen forward, forehead down, roll onto crown. Of course, you wouldn't be doing this if you had any worries about the strength of the neck. Now you can press the hands beside you and draw the shoulders back and just lift up onto the strong legs. So you have this support of the arms and palms here. Or stronger is leaving the arms down and lifting up from here. Squeezing the legs together and noticing that extra pressure through the head and neck and crown. And you would exit that super slow. And just notice how you feel. Might be more of a practice enjoyed by those who do sometimes use headstand or Shashankasana, head balance. Let's now bring the body up to stand. So all fours, cat pose, down dog, and then walk hands towards feet and find ragdoll. Hollow out as you roll up to standing and find mountain. Take a moment to balance yourself here so that crown is above the pelvis and shoulders are lovely and even. Let's interlace fingers, draw the palms away and find a full body length. Remember, you're in mounting, so this is final extension. Make sure that the feet are well grounded. Draw upwards, and if it's suitable, with the head kind of sandwiched between the upper arms, we'll open up into extension again. And then come back to the center and circle the arms around. Find prayerful. Inhale, exhale, interlace. Bring the palms around the back of the skull, widen the elbows. And just turn really gently a few times. And side bend. And again, offer gentle, calm, mild or fuller action to your side bending. Level off. Maybe the thumbs are just pointing down the sides of your neck, and maybe your elbows come in a little bit, and that can feel soothing. Otherwise, let's move back into assisted back bend. So I want you to really think about the length of the spine and opening up this front body. So the esophagus, the soft spine, receives length as well. Commit as you open, and eyes come to the point where the wall meets the ceiling. Just commit to a pausing moment here to assess, and let the head really be supported and yield into the nest of your palms. Concentrate mindfully as you come back, and then release those arms. Give yourself a little roll, and then we'll draw the neck in the opposite direction into flexion. So again, cradle, bring the elbows in, a little walk around the mat is always good, and then find your good breathing. Inhale, exhale, tuck chin. Roll in, maybe just pausing here to look into your heart. You can, of course, let the weight of the arm bones find a lovely release in your neck. And if you wish to travel all the way into a folded standing, then please do. Just feel the blissful impact on the back line. Spread out your toes, and then maybe it's a good time to slide back up to standing. Or those of you that really enjoy that feeling of being folded, then drape your arms down, shake out the head, and again you can slide back mindfully. And once the shoulders are stacked above the hips, roll those shoulders out. Let's find the full classical Urdhva Hasta Tadasana to Uttanasana now. So that's hands above head mountain. Inhale, expand in all directions. Lift out as you exhale, deep dive, Uttanasana. Crown down, head into the legs. And then inhale again, your style, your pace. Rise. Blue sky thinking as you gaze up. Exhale, deep dive, fold in. And rise once more. Inhale, exhale into heart center. And then please come to sitting. And we're going to extend both legs out in front. Draw flesh away. So we are in pose of Dandasana, the staff pose. Fold your left knee in towards your chest, heart, and you can draw the heel close to perineum if that suits you, or you can press the leg beside the right knee a little bit further down. And then let's sit tall, hugging that knee. So I'm going to reach the right arm forward and wrap the right arm around that left thigh, and then rotate spine and thorax to the left. And just remember that if your left buttock and hip wants to shift away as well, then allow that to happen. But it's your right leg that extends out away from you, and turn, 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 and look over your left shoulder. And then release. Slide legs out. Bring the fingertips behind you and create a blossoming chest, opening to that back bend, opening the front body, and then reach those arms up. Expand, inhale, and as you exhale, tip forward, point the feet, and flow over the legs or partial fold. Inhale, exhale, sliding back. Draw the right thigh in. Resit, extend out through the left leg. You can wrap the left arm through the leg or hug strongly and sit tall. Rotate to your right. Bring the right arm behind you. Open and turn and look over that right shoulder. And breathe. And unravel, come back to center. Feet in supine semi. Slide down to earth. And press through feet evenly. Arms overhead if you wish, as you inhale and find Setu Bandhasana, the bridge pose, extending the knees forward. And as you exhale, peel down, knees into chest, Apanasana. Feet come down, arms overhead, coordinate. Breathing in, bridging, and breathing out, curling. One more like that. Inhaling to bridge. Wide, exhaling to curl. And then you may want to keep that curl pose in your yoga body as you flare your arms out. And roll both legs and hips over to the right, perhaps landing or hovering. And flare again, opening the chest, arms open. Inhale, exhale, receive your practice. Curl knees in, exhale, legs to left, perhaps gaze to right. Let that breath go. And then release. And perhaps come to supine semi. Lift the head and neck, slide and shake your legs away. And for this last 2 minutes of practice, how does your body receive Shavasana? Turn your palms up. Close your eyes. Quietly absorb and visualize the spinal column lengthening along the earth on the in-breath, maintaining length on the out-breath, but softening. Observe your curves. Do you have a prominent lumbar curve, or is your back quite flattish? Do you have a lot of pressure in the back of the shoulder blades and in the upper back area? Can you sense, or even would you like to touch and stroke your own neck arch? And is the jaw and the temples and the earlobes softening away? You allowing that moment of stillness. Of course, Shavasana is a practice best observed in duration, and that duration of 20 minutes or 15. or even longer for a good quality yoga nidra. But let's close now by allowing one more round of breath in full Shavasana. Legs soft, body soft. But also be aware of your secret areas of tension and how it's within your power and responsibility to release those. You are able to do so with conscious natural breath. And then let's gather knees in now. Roll to your side in a little fetal curl. Rest on your side for a moment and then use your top arm to press and release. And closing in sitting well. Hope you enjoyed that fluid flowing around your spine and a little practice